It's just complicated. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. So good evening, everyone. We're all welcome to class. I can see our facilitator is in the class already. So please, if you're here and your party members are not here, you can do well by dropping a message on the group or inviting them to join the class. I know that we're over 100 and we have just 35 students in class. So if possible, you can remind them to join the class. And notwithstanding, we're not going to wait for anyone. We'll get right into why we're here today. So today we are going to be discussing leadership more than a concept. Leadership more than a concept. What does leadership mean to you? Is leadership a concept, or it is more than a concept? We're about to find out today. And there's no better person to do justice to this topic than our facilitator for today, Aisat Olabimpe Agbaje Akunade. Sorry if I murdered the name, ma. So I'm going to read our facilitator's profile briefly before we get started. So Ayisat Olabimpe Agbaje Okunade is a young and dynamic advocate for social equality. She's committed to finding sustainable solutions to social inequalities through economic development and social inclusion. She began her career in 2014 as a legal and administrative assistant at Kimberley, Wayne and Diamond Solicitors in London. In 2015, she joined the Hyde Group in London as a project officer, then was the outreach associate for inclusion at NCS, the Challenge in Waterloo. London Creative Successful, long-term relationships with local authorities and community organizations. Aisat is an advocate for social change. He believes that it is even more crucial for changes to happen from within institutions rather than through constant external pressures, thereby ensuring there are individuals within the system who represent those ideals. This has driven her to pursue a career in public service. Aisat has served as a special assistant to the governor of Kaduna State and as a senior special assistant for development, partnerships, and economic planning to the governor of Lagos State. She currently serves on the board and as the executive secretary of the Lateef Jakande Leadership Academy, a program that aims to develop skills, increase awareness, and cultivate a nuanced perspective among young people to address challenges in various fields, including the public sector. Aisat holds a first degree in law, a postgraduate degree in international relations and democratic politics, and professional certifications in government from Harvard Extension School. Scholarly research, circular economy and sustainability strategies from the University of Cambridge, and policy and strategic studies from NIPS, among other prestigious institutions. In 2015, she was named one of the young beneficiaries of the Prince's Trust Enterprise Grant Mentoring and Support Program, which was led by King Charles. Aisat's research on the role of women in modern radicalization has been studied and discussed at prestigious institutions, including the National Aeronautics and Space Administrations. She authored the viral article titled Nigeria's Law Are Skewed Against Women, which illuminates the regressive laws that Nigerian women face daily. She is also a co-author of the book titled Grooming Effective Public Servants, a Tambari Perspective. The book highlights the current challenges facing the Nigerian public service and provides effective strategies for overcoming and managing them to achieve success. Aisat enjoys contributing to the community by volunteering. She founded and currently manages the AA Initiatives, a nonprofit organization that focuses on supporting and reintegrating orphans and vulnerable children, OVC, throughout Nigeria. To date, the nonprofit organization has provided assistance to over 5,000 orphans and vulnerable children. She's driven by the quote, I come as one, but I represent 10,000. She believes that when she walks into a room, she's not just representing herself, but also those who have fought the good fight before her, those who are currently fighting alongside her, and those who will come after her. Ma, you're welcome. You have the mic, Ma.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday. Good evening. It's such a pleasure to be here. Very good evening to everyone. I think it's my fourth time here. So hi everyone, how are you? And thank you for the bio. I was wondering when that would end. But thanks. So I'm ready to start whenever you are.
You have the mic, Ma. You can go.
Okay, the presentation.
Okay.
Okay, that will come up shortly, ma'am.
Okay, sure, no problem. Hi. I know everybody is muted till the end of class, so I hope Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year, everyone. It's going to be a splendid year for all. Yeah, by God's grace. I'll just hold on whilst it comes up. I'll just hold on and take you guys through that. By the way, well done that everyone is here on a Sunday. It's really good. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so let's just have a full screen. So we're doing today, again, thank you to the Electoral College team. Thanks for always having me. It's always tough being here, but thank you. I really acknowledge what you guys do, and I love it, and I'm a great supporter of it. And so very, very well done. Very similar to what we do at Latif Jakonde Leadership Academy. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, but we're online, so you can research us, and where we groom young leaders for tomorrow and for today. Yes, I currently have our second cohort running. So yes, you can do some research about that shortly at your own time. So Latif Jakonde Leadership Academy. So let's go. So leadership more than a concept. I'm actually just going to mute my computer because I think the WhatsApp is making noise. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
You can? Okay, good. Okay, so leadership more than a concept. Leadership is often discussed in terms of traits, styles, and outcomes. However, leadership more than a concept emphasizes that leadership transcends simple definitions and theoretical frameworks. So leadership is obviously beyond the obvious terms. There are lots of intricacies to leadership. Leadership is not a cappella. Leadership has an entire orchestra behind it, the orchestra being in the form of selflessness, in form of commitment, in form of passion, in form of many other skills that you would need, behavioral skills and values that you would need to develop alongside one being a leader. So it's beyond a concept. It's beyond a theoretical framework. We talk about leadership in action quite often, leadership in action, leadership in action. You know, what does that mean? Because you really don't, I always tell our fellows, you really don't know what sort of leader you would be a lot of times, but in your journey to being a better leader, you would always find out what sort of leader you do not want to be. Because sometimes we don't know who we are until we have power. And by virtue of this class and other classes you've entailed, is basically you developing values that would help you when you get to those scenarios of power and change, and then you understand those values that you've developed, those pillars that are holding you firm. Because power is very, very intoxicating. And you do not also want to be the one that is intoxicated. You want to be the one that is grounded. You want to be the one that is fair. You want to be the one that has developed strong leadership values. And that when you get into places of position, you're able to develop those values. You're able to work with those values. And when you enter situations whereby you're slipping down the slope and you're turning out to be someone you don't want to be, it's those values, those accountability partners, those devices that you've created that would be the one to metamorphose and also be able to, restrain you. Because at the end of the day, we are all simply human, and we have blood running through our veins. So a lot of things can be attractive to us or even get attracted to us. And it's basically understanding that, these are the grounds, these are the things that will keep me grounded. And as leaders, you essentially need to create that. So it highlights that leadership involves a dynamic interplay of skills, behaviors, like I said, and values. So it's not a cappella. It's not an acoustic situation. It's more of you must have a lot of things to accompany it to be a good one, a lot of skills, a lot of behavior, because also characters pave way, good character pave way for better leadership as well. So you want to have a bunch of all of those things in order to thrive as an exceptional leader. This approach recognizes that leadership is practical, is situational, transformative, and a force for positive change. Importance of understanding can you guys see my screen? I think, Lisa, you have to make it full screen. I'm not sure.
Okay, because it's PDF, it's not allowing me to do that.
Also, you're struggling with that. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So my team would have to send another one over.
Okay.
You okay the last time, but we'll move through it.
Okay, thank you.
So, importance of understanding leadership beyond the theoretical framework. So it's very important. Understanding leadership beyond, I had put down 6 reasons to highlight why leadership is beyond, just a concept, just a theory, and why it's crucial. Why it's crucial for several reasons. And the first one was there needs to be a real-world practical application. I've talked about human, so you find me jumping into other slides quite often, which is okay, right? Because it all eventually links back to the topic. So we've talked about human elements. Again, we are all human, right? Effective leadership is deeply interpersonal, building relationships, motivating teams, navigating conflict. So you need to also understand, as the average human being, what your team would require, how they will require it, what it is. And you must be empathetic towards their needs by all means. Number 3, context-specific solutions, because again, situations differ. So if leadership was a theoretical term, we would be applying the same solution to every situation, right? But it doesn't work that way. It's not black or white. Sometimes it's simply gray, or sometimes you can find it's blue, or sometimes you can find it's actually pink, or sometimes you can find it's actually just black and white, black or white, you know? So it differs based on context. And it's literally about you having the important prerequisite, the important skills and values, and the versatility to be able to enter different dynamism of situations, to be able to go into different areas of situation. And that's why having a lot of transferable skills is very, very important. Number 4, innovation and adaptability. You have to be innovative. You have to be adaptable by all means. When you find that when you're a leader, you struggle with seeing what is at the bottom. So it's like a governor. You have lots of commissioners. You have after commissioners, you have special advisors. Then after that, you have PAMSECs. Then after that, you have head of parastatals. It's completely impossible for you to see everything, right? Or the new solutions that can help it find solutions to certain things. It's completely impossible. That's why people are in those positions to help you see those things. So you must be able to, if they said, this is the way to go about it, this is the innovative approach, this is software, to go about it. This is how you apply yourself. You must be able to take it on board. You must have that adaptability. So I like to share the story of one of my staff recently. No, it was early last year. I didn't know, because so many things happen and you're such a visionary, right? But you just can't see everything that is happening. And I remember her telling me that we wanted to take out, ChatGPT and AI just started most recently. So we wanted to take out the text out of a picture. And I was like to her, oh my God, you have to type out this entire text. And they said to me, no, we don't need to. I'll just throw it on AI and AI would extract the entire text for me. And I'm like, AI does that now, So you have to be able to, take on those ideas and those informations and allow yourself to rapidly change based on the new landscape or the demands you have as a leader. So which is that versatility. So you can't go with any sort of ego whereby you're sort of unteachable. The easiest way to lose sight is when you become unteachable. The easiest way to fall is when you become unteachable. Because guess what? There's always someone that probably knows more than you. There's always someone that will always be better than you. There's always someone that would also always have more expertise in a certain area than you, right? And it's basically applying those different skills and expertise and applying them into your day-to-day. So number 5, ethical and inclusive practices. Real-world leadership involves making ethical decisions, fostering an inclusive environment. This requires human values, cultural dynamics, and many more. Number 6, sustainability and responsibility. Of course, with modern leadership now, we see ourselves going into circular economy. We see ourselves going into one thing, sustainability, or the other. So this one really falls in line with number 4 as well, which is the innovation and adaptability. So if you're sustainable, you can be more responsible, you can be more adaptable. Even if you meet some corporations now, some major corporations, they have a certain staff for sustainable business. So someone is looking out for how sustainable their businesses are, right? And their responsibility, their corporate social responsibility. So the world is moving very fast. So moving beyond the theoretical framework, Lisa, please do me the honors of scrolling down. What is leadership? I know we can have the discussion towards the end when you guys get to unmute, but for me, it's not a one-way street. There's so many answers to what leadership is. John Maxwell, I think we all know John Maxwell. So you meet a lot of leadership coaches that will be like, I came from John Maxwell school and many more. So John Maxwell said leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. I would like to discuss that. Peter Drucker says the definition of a leader is someone who has followers. Interesting, because I'll also get to followership. And Warren Benny says, leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. You also have Nelson Mandela, whom I absolutely love. He says a leader is like a shepherd. He says he stays behind the flock, letting the most nimble go out ahead, whereupon the others follow, not realizing that all along they've been directed from behind. I think the most common thing in this definition is that if you look at what everybody says about leadership, what a leader is that there's responsibility. There's a sense of responsibility, understanding that they are not leading themselves alone. So they have strong sense of responsibility. If you do not have a strong sense of responsibility, then you've started failing as a leader. And I always say something that leadership starts from home. You have to look after your younger ones. Your parents have to look after you. You see that even naturally, our culture even demands that, oh, the man is the head of the family, right? So everything you do translates into what sort of leader you are. Most of us have siblings, right? You have to lead. So you have to show up so they understand how to show up, right? In all this entire definition, it's a sense of responsibility. It's a sense of commitment. It's also selflessness, right? And it's nearly completely and utterly humane. Just being your brother's keeper, but also leading from the front. So leadership is an art of inspiring others to dream more, learn more, do more, become more, guiding them with vision, integrity, and empathy towards shared goals. Remember, as what I've said, unfortunately, I don't have a one-way definition towards leadership, right? I think it's a lot of things. But the ones I believe that it is sense of responsibility. It's a strong sense of responsibility. It's selflessness, right? And many others. Lisa, help me, please. Now let's take it to Nigeria, based on everything I've said. Let's bring it home. So if you were to sit with a random Nigeria today and you say, what's our problem? Most of them will say corruption, right? There's corruption in every part of the world. As a matter of fact, it's completely impossible to create a business and not have leakages. There would always be a leakage. It's basically doing what you can do to close those leakages. So in some aspects, I think there was an author that talked about it. In some aspects, you can say, okay, I can only accept 10% leakages. I can only accept 20% leakages. I can only accept 30% leakages, right? It's completely impossible not to have leakages, talk less of in a country, So when we talk about corruption is a sort of leakage as well, because it happens when the systems are not also strong enough. And doesn't mean it doesn't happen. in anywhere else in the world, it doesn't happen at all. It's completely false. It's not exclusive to Nigeria. As a matter of fact, there are worse countries that experience this worse than Nigeria. So people will say corruption is one of Nigeria's major problem. I've put that as number one, but I don't think that's number one, right? You also have ethnic and religious divides, which I also think it's even far above corruption. For some reason, I think that it even goes beyond that, because if you don't have an efficient society, right, and that sees each other as one, I think corruption is just a part of the problem as opposed to the actual problem. I think corruption is also one of the fallouts of the separation, as opposed to being the separation. So you also have economic inequality. That's a big topic right now. What does that look like for a lot of people? So again, the economic equality is there. However, I think the economic equality also derives from a lot of divide, from ethnic to religious divides, to the lack of national integration, to the lack of to the weak systems of education, and to many more. And then you have security issues. Again, security issues is like corruption to me. It's the fallout of a systemic issue already, which is the lack of unity, the lack of national integration, the lack of one identity, but however, in the layman's terms, that's exactly what our challenge is as Nigeria, in Nigeria. But also in this challenge, I always say that there are major opportunities in this challenge. And we are blessed, we're a blessed country. We have a strong, I think we're actually the strongest in terms of youth demographic in the world. We have the largest youth population. Whereas you have countries like Japan, where they have a large proportion of old people. And the workforce in Japan is actually dying out, right? They have a large proportion of old people that are also dying, and little of young people. So the workforce is actually, that's a challenge that they're obviously experiencing, but Nigeria has been blessed with it. I think we're a bit too blessed with it, actually, that we don't even know what to do with it. We are spoiled for choice. We have national resource, we have technological advancements. Yes, we do have technological advancement, because when you go abroad and you ask those, who created this software? Who did this? Who did that? You see that it's Nigeria. They'll say, this Nigerian doctor, this Nigerian medic, this Nigerian tech, it's Nigeria. So we have that. So the question is, what is stopping our system from not being as enabling as other systems are? Diaspora is there. We all know that diaspora is where the money is. They account for a lot of our income. So, they play a major role there. So I think holistically, we are blessed in terms of population. And I like to always talk about the opportunities. Even as a leader, you must always look at the opportunities that you have in a situation than the negative. Because if you focus on the negative, you will not see the opportunities there. And that falls in line with Nigeria. We tend to focus a lot on the negative, that we stop seeing the opportunity. And that's one thing about the human mind as well. If you look at your personal life, there's something going wrong, and your mind is simply focused on what is going wrong, not what is going right. Whereas, guess what? God has seen you through to another year. You are not you're not completely impoverished. You can read and write. That's why you're here. You have a certain level of intellectual capacity. That's why you're here. There's so many things. And for those of you that have family kids, there's so many things that we're blessed with. But when something goes wrong, our mind totally narrows down on what has gone wrong, as opposed to what has gone right. And I think that we are victims of that, even in the case of Nigeria. And as leaders, you must be able to see things differently from the obvious. You must be able to see it differently from the idea of, this is going wrong. This is going wrong for Nigeria. But no, what about what is going right? The nightlife, the social capital. Do you know that Nigerians are the most hospitable people in the world? One of the most hospitable people, I think even after Indians, right? There's so many things going right. And when we now go online and we can be writing everything that is going wrong, and that's what investors see, as a result, they don't come into Nigeria because you don't know, maybe that your tweet has been the thing that stopped them from coming into Nigeria. So as leaders, you must have a certain sense of responsibility that enables you to understand that you just don't do it. You must see the positive aspect of elements of a lot of things. So as someone that's been blessed with a quite skillful staff, but guess what? My staffs are not skillful in all areas. It's identifying the areas they are good at, and also ensuring that they go and further thrive in those areas that they are good at. If I focus on their negatives, guess what? They are not going to bring anything to me. They are not going to be able to bloom. They are not going to help me build the vision I want to build. And so as a leader, you must always try and see the positive aspects of things. And that's one of the essential qualities of an effective leader. See opportunities in situations, be able to convert it to solutions. So leadership is an art that requires a unique and acceptable disposition from any leader and their administration. To effectively guide their followers, leaders must exhibit a blend of qualities and traits that foster trust, drive positive change, inspire others. So if you recall, I said it's not an acoustic, a cappella situation, right? Leadership is not an a cappella situation. It's beyond, far above and beyond. And some of the, I like to say it's an orchestra. Some of the people in the orchestra that I like to think with leadership is integrity. You must have integrity. You must have values before you even enter leadership position. What are those driving forces? You must be able to identify them. It's a cornerstone of every effective leadership. It's what builds trust with even your staffings, with those that you follow. That even you hear people talking about one politician. They'll be like, let's say you know the politician is a bad man, but they'll be like, the man's a good man. The man he has a strong moral compass because it's painted off that he has strong integrity. Integrity helps in influencing people, in gathering followers. And then, listen, before integrity is number one, it's vision. You must have a vision. Where do you want to go? If you have staff, your followers should not be the one giving you what the vision is. You're supposed to be the driver of the vision. Guess what? People that lack integrity but have vision still are successful in one way or the other, whether they are successful in criminal activities or shady business. But you must have a vision, because it's those vision that your followers will see and they will jump on. If you do not have a vision, then first and foremost, you failed as a leader. Right? So vision is the ability to see beyond the present and anticipate future possibilities, which communicates to inspire and align their team towards a common goal. So I once did the McKinsey 7S, and I've done it with my class before. And what I say is, for a business to thrive with the McKinsey 7S, it says that you must have shared values. You must be able to have similar style. You must have staffing. You must create a system. If you don't have a shared value, that you show your team what the values are, no, you failed first and foremost. So there must be, shared values. Empathy, right? So empathy is another one. You don't know what anyone is going through. As a leader, you must be an empath, which involves understanding and being sensitive to feelings and experiences of others. So this allows you to understand what others are going through so you can diagnose it effectively. If you do not put yourself in a space of understanding and you're impulsive, you will not be able to get to where you need to get to. So with empathy also comes reflectiveness. So as a leader, you must be able to reflect effectively and reflect on how things have gone, what needs to look different and how it needs to look different. And also one of my favorite ones is resilience. Hey, because life will try you, life will test you, life will shake you, life will say, who are you? But it's your ability to be resilient, to understand that failing is not the end, but it's just, part of the package. Quitting is not it should not be the option, right? Failing is just part of the package. And it's coming to that understanding that resilience is important. Because guess what? If I fail at something and I have people following me, everybody else, and I'm not standing up or writing back from what I feel I failed at, guess what? All my other followers will be demotivated and they won't have anything else to follow. And for what? Leaders are solution-oriented. They are resilient in their practices. They are effective in it as well. Because life will show you pepper. Life would what? It will show you pepper. And how do you ensure that even you too, you are prepared to show life pepper? And you are going to do a basketball situation by all means, not a one-off, a basketball situation. Because you must not be, my pastor even says, you must not be chicken-hearted. You can't. As a leader, you can't. Because guess what? Even in your role of leadership, one of your staff today has problem with family. Another one has problem with housing situation. Another one has problem with this or that. You must be able to compartmentalize effectively that the vision is still the goal. The vision is still clear. The vision is still number one. And then empathetically lead your people through tough situations. Lead them through tough situations. I've never seen anything as beautiful as that. I'm currently being led. I have a boss, the governor of the state, Lagos State, and I'm currently being led by him. And I'm like, sometimes I say that I'm like, how did you get through this? Just imagine if he gave up. There probably won't be a Latija Conde Leadership Academy. Right? So you must be resilient, not that you be chicken-hearted. Leaders are not chicken-hearted. They are not. Because the vision will be the core of where you are going. So it's important. It's important. So when life comes life in, Aisha comes Aisha in. So we both meet at the middle. Let's do our worst. You constantly. And have you heard the major people that have won in life, that have become successful? Is it the Jeff Bezos, Do you know how long it started? Do you know how many years ago it started Amazon? Amazon just picked up in the after 2010, around 2010, 2015. But guess what it's been doing since 1990 something? Consistency, persistency, standing firm is key. Don't underestimate those things. Do not, by all means. You know, and the ability to drive positive change. There's nothing like being a leader and you don't know how to drive change. There's nothing you do right now that you don't know how to impact. It's fruitless. You must go out every day to want a different narration of the story. You must be ready to impact your community positively. You must be the change driver for everything. You must have a certain sense of community that says, I'm the one getting my people out of this. And that sense of responsibility, driving positive change, and in that positive change, you are showing your key strength of integrity, vision, empathy, and many more. Just ensure that whatever vision you are driving with is to correct a wrong, and it's to pave a way for your community, is to build your community, because there's nothing more satisfying than that you're impacting and adding your quota to it. Everything else is capitalism. Even capitalism plays a role in impacting the community. Also, you can drive positive change through building trust, inspiring action, encouraging innovation, ensuring stability. I think those speak for itself. Be that community leader that is going to inspire and also uplift your community. As I round up, because I've limited my presentation quite a bit, because I want to also take more questions, because I find that in the classes questions have been what has paved way for more in-depth discussions. And they've been quite life-changing with how in-depth they are. So as I round up, remember, leadership is not a one-size-fits-all. It applies different situations, different skills. The day integrity would work, vision might not. Vision, all those ones always work, but you have to know what skills you apply. So there's a versatility to it. I like to say this: the battleground looks different every day. The battleground today might be in your office, tomorrow might be in your church. So you wear your pastor cap, or in your mosque you wear your imam cap, or even in your marriage, the battleground looks different every day. And it's being able to go into those dimensions of versatility that allows you to know when you have to wear armor, when you have to just bring your sense, when you have to bring something, your Bible, when you have to bring your Quran. The battleground differs, right? And it's having enough emotional intelligence to understand what that looks like. Enough emotional intelligence and empathy to understand what that looks like. And what different change or currents you need to bring to those battlegrounds. Ultimately, leadership is truly more than a concept. It's lots more, much more than one. Yeah. Thank you. So we'll just do questions now, Lisa.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for the insightful lecture. it's time for questions. So if you have any questions, you can indicate by raising up your hand, or you can type your question in the chat box. Once you indicate by raising up your hand, you'll be asked to unmute and ask your question. So please, if you have any questions, you can indicate by raising up your hand. Okay. Oh, sorry. Lucky, can you indicate by raising up your hand again? So I can ask you to unmute. Okay, before you do that, okay, yeah. Lucky, you can unmute and ask your question.
Thank you very much. Good evening. The presenter really did so well. Yes, I truly appreciate. My question is, looking at from what you've said so far, in every sphere of our leadership, it differs. Both in the church, in our marriage, and everywhere it differs. But looking at it from the political, angle, I want to say that why is it that I haven't understood, because most of the things we're learning here, I believe that most of our politicians had gone through courses or training that had taught them about ethical leadership. But unfortunately, most of them are not towing that path. So what could be the major challenge? That is one. Then number two, ordinarily, how do one measure its leadership, progress as you go on? What are the key things to really look out for to measure your leadership progress? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. What's your name?
Leke.
Lekia. Okay, so your second question was, how do you measure your leadership progress?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just writing that down so I don't. So in terms of the politicians, I think, do you know the funny thing? I think Lisa can maybe attest to that. I probably get this question at every class. That's something similar at every class as to why some certain things are happening. If you recall, when I started this session, I said something. I said that you don't know who you are until you have power. Some of you, and some of you can attest, some of you on here, they give you small power, maybe even your estate committee president, maybe they give you even estate committee or estate this or estate that. So not that you've not been through electoral college course or other course, but you still find yourself entering those slippery slopes. Then I've been in numerous situations where I've had people in leadership position and you'll be finding that they are looking for estate committee money. They are looking for estate committee money. They are looking for who stole what in the estate, or who did what in so many things, who misappropriated what. It doesn't take you being in charge of Nigeria to be able to checkmate yourself and take caution. It should never be you being in charge of Nigeria. I think it's the reason why people go down that route. For me, it's vision. What's your vision in the first place? For coming into government. Is the vision to get rich, which I think is pretty silly, or is it to have be effective and make change? If you come in with the want to make change, I'm telling you, there's nothing that anyone would offer you And when you even get to that place whereby you're being offered something that can change you a bit, when you, like Yoruba say it, to balance your mind, which is, if you remember the home you're coming from, and remember the values that have been instilled in you, or you've instilled in yourself, you would, refrain from it. There's also another saying that when they give birth to you, yourself, you're supposed to give birth to yourself again. In your man, it's how you want to be seen. So ultimately, for me, I can only speak for myself. I'm in government. I've been in public service for over 5 years, 6 years now, 6 to 7 years. And it's basically, I know why I wanted to come in. It was to make change. It was to have an effect on the lives of others. And every step I take is to have that effect. I've also developed accountability partners that when they see me in the news for the wrong reasons, or when they see that I'm changing, my accountability partners will call me to order. My family, my friends, my mentors, they will call me to order. Those accounts, so we're talking about even recently, I found out that one of my mentors that was also in government before she left, she used to have every weekend, she would come home every Sunday to her friends, whereby they remind her of why she's doing what she's doing. I don't remember most of these are politicians that do go around the slippery slope having accountability partners. The accountability partners tend to be those that are even going down that slippery slope. So when you get into power position, so you must know who you surround yourself with. You must have your core. And that's what we develop at Latif Jackson Leadership Academy, which is what you guys are here for, to be core accountability partners for each other. Call each other out, speak to each other, sit each other down. So there are so many ways to, we told yourself. So it's one thing going to Harvard, Kennedy School. But what do you come from Harvard? How do you ensure those things you studied in Harvard stick? How do you ensure those things you studied stick? How do you ensure those values your parents have given you stick? So personally, my father, when we were younger, every morning when we come out to pray, he would do a prayer, and we have to recite some of our values. Like, you must be honest at all times. You cannot steal. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. And my dad did that consistently throughout my life. Those are the accountability. Those are the reminders. Those are the values that hold one, that have, that's why the quote, my favorite quote that I think was it Peace read it out. I come as one by stand. I come as one by stand as 10,000. I stand because I stand as 10,000 with it. So if I enter a room, the names of those my ancestors is following me. My surname is Agbaje, but guess what? I've also married Okwade. Now, the people that are behind me are plenty. Do you understand? So you must have people that are sticking with you, that you are accountable to. Now, even with our cohorts at Latija Conde, I know that I cannot do anything that would shake up my values, because they also look up to me in a certain way. So it's having those grounds personally for me. It's having those grounds. So I don't know why they still behave that way, but I believe that it's due to, it's not just going to those schools and learning those things. It's having accountability partners. It's identifying what your vision is from the start and knowing what your vision is. And it's also identifying your values. What are your values? And you must have those three identity. before you enter any power positions. It must be clear. It must be clear. Or else you are going in free fall. You don't care what happens. That's it. To move on, you said, how do you measure your leadership progress? I don't really understand that question, but I'm going to try and to answer it. You know, back to my presentation, leadership is not a one-way street, or it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. It's several other things. So when you say, how do you mention your leadership progress, you'd have to be more specific for me, you know, because I would need to know what exactly you currently do, you know, in what areas, in what situations you find yourself. But ultimately, how do you progress is ensuring that you also have people that align with your vision. So when you make a phone call that, hello, I need to do this, they won't question it because you've brought them into your vision, that they've even developed an ownership for it. That's a good way of measuring how far your vision has gone or how far your leadership progress has gone. Thank you. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma, for the response. Jamilu, you can unmute and ask your question.
Good evening. Thank you, Isaac, for the presentation. My question is, you have used the word leadership interchangeably in the presentation. I don't know if you can provide more clarity between those two words, because I think, in my opinion, I've held this opinion for a while. We tend to mix
I
those two
can't hear
things.
you well. Sorry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's clearer now.
All right. I say good evening. Well done to you for the presentation. I said you use the word leaders and leadership when you were showing up those two definitions in the beginning of your presentation. So if you can help a lot of us here to actually what's the difference, because I've held this opinion for a while that those two words are not the same words. We have used them like that, and I guess that's one of the things that has been our problem in Nigeria. We have misdiagnosed our problems. Every time we say leadership is a problem in Nigeria, and it has led us to wrong conclusions all the time, and then applying solutions to misdiagnosed problems. So I don't know if can make some clarity on regards that. And by the way, it's good to see you after a long while. I know you may not remember, but maybe to jog your memory sometime. But good to see you once again.
Okay, I need to look closer at the picture and maybe I'll get it. But yeah, maybe you can reach out to me online.
KDSG, SA Political.
Oh, hey, how are you? Jamili, I remember. Hey, so leader is a person, right? Leadership is the process of, or the approach to being a leader, right? Leader is a person. So I think maybe a noun or an adjective, it's playing something here. So in terms of, you know, you talked about Nigeria, you know, what does that sound like? So you said that, oh, okay, sometimes we say that leader is our problem or leadership is our problem. So I don't think it's both. So if leader is our problem, then leadership is the problem as well, because leadership is literally the approach to being the leader. Leader is a person, and the leadership is the process of being a leader, the process of influencing the group or the reach of people. You know, it's the strategic planning, the decision-making aspect of things, the sitting down, you know, we've talked about it, the empathy you show, the integrity you bring to the table, the vision you bring to the table. Those are what the leadership is. But a leader is also, you know, you can't have one without the other. So you can't have a leader and not have a leadership. So yeah, you can actually have a leader and they are dull-headed and there's no leadership style to it. You know, but even being dull-headed is a leadership style. Because that's their own style of leadership, being dull-headed, right? So I think they're one of the same a bit. It's just that one is I think either an adjective or a process or the other. But yeah, you know, in terms of Nigeria, I think it's a bit of both leadership. But leadership can also look like an entire structure. And, you know, someone can come and create a leadership. A leader can come and create a leadership that is a proper structure, but that leader has left that structure. And that's something like the civil service. So the leadership there, right? So it's you would have to play a lot around it to get also where the direction, like I said, it's very situational. You know, it's also very situational on approach and also what the context looks like, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you, Ma. Boluwatife, you can unmute and ask your question. Boluwatife, are you there?
Okay, sorry, I was trying to unmute. Good evening, everyone.
Okay.
So I just want to ask about managing people in leadership. So a quick one, I've been in situations whereby I have been asked to lead a team, and some of my team members, they don't have the passion, they don't have the drive like I do. And sometimes some of them, if there's no money there, they'll say, no, they cannot do humanitarian services or that. They don't have time. They don't have time to be doing humanitarian services. So how can you influence people to, how can you work with people? How can you manage people effectively? Even when there is no money, even when they don't have the passion you have, how can you work with them effectively to get the job done? So that's what I want to ask. Effective management, working effectively with people to get the job done, even when they don't have the passion. So that's my question. Thank you.
I love that. I love that question. I get that a lot. And my first answer to it is, make sure you own. You can't take a horse to the river that doesn't want to drink water. You can't, you know, you can only take it to the river, but you can't force it to drink water. But guess what? You can also find the ones that are ready to go to the river and go and drink water. So maybe you are just looking at the wrong set of people or team, because it's possible for you to find people that buy into your vision, right? And you shouldn't have to do too much convincing because their vision and goals and their thoughts already aligned to where you are going, you know. So it's possible for you to find all of those. It's also possible for you to lead people effectively. Like now, you're talking about maybe CSR projects or NGO projects. Really, you shouldn't be grabbing people that are very interested in money even alongside you. So maybe you should look at that circle again, because if their focus is something different from what you offer, right, you need to change that team. And that allows you to be able to lead effectively. But guess what? You can also find people that bring blank checks to the table, whereby they don't even know what their vision is. And those are the people that you drive and you get them to even buy into it and what it is. And you can also even find people that that want money, you know, that like money or something. But you can also show them that, guys, if we do this, if we complete this, if we complete that, you know, eventually this is where the money will come from. This is where that money would look like. This is where it would look like. It just means up means us scrubbing a bit of toilet, us doing the hard task for us to get to where we need to go to. And you need to be ready to do those, because even if you want a situation whereby you want money, it's not going to happen instantly. You have to put in work. You have to put in work, right? So it's a bit of both. So you need to find the right people to follow you, and managing them well, and being able to sell your vision. For instance, now we've come to, it's the new year, and what I asked my team to do is, because I know that I need them to work so hard this new year, that they must go in and, shake the table. And what I've said to them is that, can they all come with a vision board? They should all come with a vision board. I would all look at, so they should all present their vision board to me. Let me see where their mind is at. And then I'll look through it. And then each department unit, let's see what the vision board looks like. Me too, I do my own vision board. And it's taking and carrying everybody along. You must be able to. So you can't be a leader and you've made a decision and nobody knows you've made the decision or how you got to those decisions. Sometimes you know what you want to do, but it's also okay to call people to the table. What's your opinion on this? So you have to make them feel like they are part of it. And I'm telling you, when you make people feel like they are, most times they don't even need money. They are not probably even looking for money. People just want to be part of something most times, and how do you ensure you're making them feel like they own the idea, the vision, the goal? And that means so when you are doing all the, the necessary decisions, let them be part of it. So you don't just come up with a decision and throw it at them that, guys, we have to do this. This is what, no. Get them to be part of it. Sit down through it, the brainstorming. And then in that way, people start to own the different ideas. So I've said two key things. Check your team again. Are you sure they are the right ones? And then also, secondly, get people to come along in your ideas.
Okay, thank you, Ma. Yvonne, you can unmute and ask your question. Yvonne.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Ma.
Fine.
Okay, so I have a question, but before that, I would just like to say something. So a while back, I was kind of given the opportunity of being a leader in a group. And then after some time, I started hearing that people were blaming me for doing things that I actually didn't do. And I kind of let my emotions get in the way. And I said some things that I probably regret. And so my question is, how should a leader respond when they are being criticized unfairly, despite, consistently demonstrating exceptional performance and dedication to their work?
Thank you. That's a very, very good question, Yvonne. Very, very good question. When I started leading my team, I went through that. And as a leader, I said that you must be resilient. So you must be resilient with all of that. And guess what? You must not be emotional about it's human to be emotional. But what I find that works is separating facts from emotions. When you separate facts from emotions, you would move a lot quicker. In those criticisms, are the facts, if you look at the facts, are they right? Could they just help you, to thrive, but not necessarily telling you that you're not a good leader, right? I don't think that's so we have to understand that when people say, oh, this needs to change, doesn't mean that they are saying we are throwing the entire bucket out with the water, right? It just means that, oh, how can we tweak it to be effective for our own needs? So it's basically, and you must be able to take those criticisms as a leader. So one of the biggest things, so I think recently we had a situation whereby we had a food bug and all of that. And we told the caterer that was making food for us that this thing, we had a football goal. Those feedbacks are very, very hard to take. They are very hard to take because you think that you've done everything exceptionally well. So why would someone come with those feedbacks? But guess what? Those are the part of it, the problems with it. They're not even necessarily problems. If you're a caterer, you should know that yes, leaving food at a certain temperature at any time could result to food poisoning from a lot of people, right? So it's taking those feedbacks head on and using it as a tool for change, dissecting it and not being emotional about it. Which one, can you take on board that you've reflected with that seems, okay, this sounds about right? Because constructive criticism, you would have heard it before. You would have heard it from either family member or friends before. When my sisters will say, you're too stubborn. Me, I know I'm stubborn because even at work, I'm stubborn. So you would have heard it before. Be able to constructively dissect. Are you being empathetic enough? Are you being instrumental enough? Are you listening to them enough? Are you sure you're not being overly emotional, right? And it's separating the facts from it, the truths from it to what is emotion and looking at that and leveling up on it. If they say, okay, your timekeeping needs to improve, then it's saying that, okay, I'll do better. So do not use it as a tool to make you feel sad, but it does have those abilities of making you feel sad. Unfortunately, those are the realities of it. You will feel sad, but eventually get to the place whereby you are breaking the facts up from emotions. So you are taking the facts out of it and working on the facts because you've reflected on it and throwing aside the emotions. Because emotions can be very cloudy and it's eventually not help you to see. And even in marriages, in a lot of things, you will see that, are you actually listening? Are you actually communicating? Are you actually understanding? But if you're being emotional, you will not see all those things. So always dissect it, right? And take on the ones you can take on, to throw aside the ones you can't. So just be ultimately true to yourself. I know you probably will feel like, but why are they blaming? This person did this person did that, they did that. Guess what? We're not how to make the world gets better once we choose to make ourselves better. Let everybody go and do the work on themselves, and the work will get better if we all choose to. We can't make someone else better, but you have a responsibility to yourself to be the best version of yourself.
Okay, thank you, Ma. Tommy, unmute and ask your question.
Okay, hi. Good evening, everyone, and thank you.
Please, before you go to the question, can I just have 1 minute, please? Let me just reconnect. Just 1 minute, please.
Okay.
Okay.
back. Sorry, I had to swap devices quickly. So Temitope, please go.
Okay, it's fine, Matt. Temitope, you can go ahead.
Okay,
Temitope, you can unmute yourself here.
yes, I'm unmuted now. I wanted to say thank you for the insights you shared around leadership. My first question was around what I think Leke said, but I also have a question around what do you say to someone or to people who don't believe that they have a leadership platform yet? Like there is nowhere they are currently serving as leaders, but they know that they aspire to be there. So how do they prepare for, or how do they even come into positions of leadership in the first place? I think that's my second question. Thank you.
Thank you, Temitope, for that question. So I don't think there's currently anyone in this world that currently does not have a leadership platform yet. I think everybody has a leadership platform. Temitope, how many siblings do you have? If any?
Oh, I have 3 siblings. I'm actually not asking for myself because I believe that
No, I know. I'm using you as an example. So it's
three siblings, and I'm the last of them.
You're the last of them. Good. Right. So even in that context alone, there's a leadership platform. So whether if you're married, I'm not sure if you're married or not, right?
I am.
Okay, so you're even more on a leadership platform than us, so there's a leadership platform there where you play, because even as a leader, you and your husband, you have to create a vision whereby you both have, you have to try and bring your husband into your vision. He has to try and bring you into his vision, right? There's that, that coercing of knowledge and information, of friendship, of building together. That's a leadership platform. So if you recall, I initially said that leadership starts from even the barest minimum. It starts from the family. We've all seen it. Either we've seen it, we've done it, or we've seen our parents do it. They've led us, they've instilled some values in us. As a result, we've gone out to showcase a bit of those values that they've instilled in us. That's number one. So I think everybody has a role to play in one leadership sense or the other. But be it the alumni council, or school, or one thing or the other. You can't do the big, let me break it up into big leadership and small leadership. You can't do the big power blocks if you've not identified that even the smaller ones, you are creating your identity for the bigger power blocks. So in essence, let's say, okay, you're married, you have a vision. How do you bring your husband into that vision? Right? How do you bring your husband into that vision? In what methods have you created? Are you sitting him down? Are you looking at the level of emotional intelligence when doing it? So to ensure that whatever you've said works, or whatever you've mentioned, he has taken that on board. So there are lots of varies to this, but I think ultimately people do have leadership platform, and a lot of us play key roles in those leadership platforms. And it's how we use it. I've mentioned the estate thing. Some of us now, once they've given you people estate money, they can't find it. It's those little blocks and creating your identity, in those little blocks that then prepares you for the bigger leadership positions. And I think you don't get there overnight. You know, it takes character building. It takes being able to drive people, being able to influence people accordingly. So in your various jobs right now, what leadership skills are you introducing in your various jobs that's allowed people to trust you, to follow you? As a result, you find that it's easy for promotions to come. So which is why I like to focus on the smaller versions of where we are as leaders, because it's the smaller versions that then allow us to be these ginormous key players in leadership. And I think that if you don't have, a place whereby you are currently leading, I think you can go out to find it. That's the key thing about volunteering. Don't underestimate volunteering. Volunteerism is so key, right? It's a 21st century skill, right? So if you don't have those platforms, and you're not being given those platforms, like for me now, I didn't have mentorship, at home. I didn't have any of all of that. I went out to find it. So what I did was I started volunteering. I started volunteering for places like even DFID, that made me then end up going to live in Tanzania for about 5 months. I came back, no more volunteering finished. I went to look for more volunteering. Then becoming a lead, I think it's important. And that's what I love about the development sector, that it allows us to create those spaces. So if you don't even currently have that right now, you can invest in volunteering. And volunteering would only build your CV. Even if it's volunteering for a political party or volunteering for a campaign. There are local government elections in Lagos this year. There are other lots of, there are elections happening, is it next year or upper year? Putting yourself in those positions to be able to, enter those key spaces, eventually. Because guess what? If you are sitting there, it will never come to meet you. You have to go out. You have to know someone to go out to do it. So you have to go out to engage. And then by that, then people can entrust something in you for you to lead. And you would start creating your own blocks, your own places of influences that way. Volunteering is very, very important. And that's what helped me, step up to leadership position. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
it will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Ayo, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Can you speak up a bit?
Okay, thank you so much, Ma, for the presentation. So you've talked about leadership, you've talked about accountability partners and a leader involving the followers. All of this is to arrive at the shared goal, right?
Yeah.
For someone that has a vision. And then you also talked about like the just recent concluded comments, volunteering. So my question goes thus: how do you handle a perfectionist, like a leader that truly has a vision and then it aligns with yours, but then you want everything to be 100% this way, like if it's not like this, then that is not it. So how do you handle a perfectionist as a leader? How do you get accountability?
Are you subbing me?
No.
I'm just joking. So don't mistake perfectionist for excellence. So a leader might be someone that wants excellence. So it's not perfectionist, because I don't think perfectionist is nearly mental, because there's nothing in this world that is, that you can be so perfect at. It's completely impossible. But if a leader says, come on time to work, and you are 1 minute, 2 minutes late, 3 minutes late, it's not arriving at a spirit of excellence. So I tell our young people, right, you must be able to arrive at a spirit of excellence. Excellence is important, and excellence is not in the overviews. Excellence is in the details. In the details, reading over those emails again. So don't mistake perfectionism as excellence. As a leader yourself, you must get to a place of excellence. It's lack of excellence that made them build the Murtala Mohammed Airport new wing to be smaller. When they know that they have big planes, you know, when that issue happened, it's lack of excellence. It's inability to take on details, to look through something. All it took is one person to look through the detail, and that would change. It's lack of excellence. Don't mistake perfectionism for excellence. You must be excellent at everything you do. So if a leader is telling you that actually, I need you to show a level of excellence in everything that you are doing, by all means, you should attempt to be as excellent. You should attempt to be as excellent, because when you become a leader and you are taking on all these things that we are saying, and you become a leader, you would also want your followers to, in order for them to apply your vision, to show a level of excellence. So excellence would mean, something has happened on the road, you are running late, right? Call at least 10 minutes before. Call the person that you're going to meet for an interview or anything 10 minutes for that you're running late, or 15 minutes late. That's excellence. Excellence would mean not perfecting every word for detail, but reading through the email to ensure that everything you said, that there are most of us that when we say we've attached a document to the email, guess what? We did not attach it. And we sent off the email. Going back over that email before you send it off to read it. It's not, someone wrote, strive for excellence, not perfectionism. Yeah. So, however, be able to indicate if this person is just trying to get you, or they are just showing a certain level of excellence and not perfectionism. But if they are I don't think I've seen anyone that's a perfectionist. I think that when you thrive for perfectionist, because it has to, I think that's nearly mental illness, because it's completely impossible to be perfect at everything you do. But yes, you can. By all means, you can be excellent. That's when they say her, when they are talking about you, they'll be like, this girl, if this girl was here, this won't happen. Because she would have checked out all the details. Guess what? It's not the vision that makes people win. It's their excellence to it, the detail to it that makes me. Amazon, there was eBay. There were a lot of all these, shopping, retail websites. It's excellent. It's looking at the details. It's looking at the details. eBay, Amazon now, at one point, all you need to do was pay. They got everything to you. eBay, you still have to go through a lot of, the ceremony. But Amazon, you just click, say it's coming to you. Amazon started Amazon Prime. And Amazon Prime started as getting your delivery within 24 hours. eBay, that was running, didn't do all of that. eBay was just based on people just bringing their items to sell, which is what Amazon is based on as well. But what differentiates you from everybody else is excellence. It's the detail you put in. It's the detail you put in, because if you go to UK, before you think of an idea, someone else has thought about that idea, or someone else is doing it. But it's the excellence that will differentiate you. And just try and ensure that it's not a spirit of excellence that they're trying to cultivate. I think perfectionism is a mental illness, because you can't be perfect, right? But you can be excellent. You can be excellent. You can show up on time. You can show up on time. You can reread that email and do it well, because you are setting a brand for yourself. You're setting a brand for yourself, and you're setting a tone for yourself, right? That's excellent. And as leaders, we must know excellence, and excellence is in the detail. It's in the details. It's in the details, and it's in the details. Thank you. I hope that helped.
Okay, thank you, Ma. So our time is fast spent. We'll take the last question in the chat box. This is from Galadima Usman Segiru. He says, as a leader, how can we control the attitude of attributing blame on others instead of taking full responsibility of discharging our duty and objectives of the office?
Okay, can we also take Phillips?
Okay. I didn't see that. Okay, Philip, you can unmute and ask your question.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. Good evening, Ma.
Hey.
So my name is Philip, and I once served with Boss Echo, and also I have a few friends that work with the Latif Jakonde Leadership Academy.
Okay.
So my question is that what practical strategies
I can't hear you, Philip.
adopt? Hello, Ma. Can you hear me, Ma?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you're not stable, so.
Oh, I think it's my network. Sorry. So I said, what practical strategies can leaders adopt to transform leadership from being just a concept into a tangible force for meaningful impact and sustainable development?
Okay, thank you, Phillips. Can you type that into the chat box whilst I do the first one? So I'll thank you, Phillips. I'll take it after Galadima. So Galadima said, as a leader, can control attitude of attributing blames on others instead of taking full responsibility for discharging our duty. So, everybody is a leader, but who is an effective leader? An effective leader is someone that does not attribute blames to others. So guess what? In my role as a public servant, about situations whereby something has gone wrong, my team has done it wrong, and they've done it unintentionally. I have to pick up the wrath. I have to pick it up, right? Because when I report to the governor doesn't know them that well. It's me, he calls. So you can't control the attitude. You literally have no control over others. You have control over yourself alone and what you bring to the table. That's literally all you have. You have control over you. So once you get it out of your mind that you can control others, you would have peace. So now, you as a person, how do you ensure that you become an effective leader? That when they tell you that this has gone wrong, you take full responsibility of it. Because once you do, guess what? The other person that is looking at you will learn to. There's this quote, our deepest fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are, not valid when we are invalid or anything. That's not our deepest fear. Our deepest fear is that when we shine, us not knowing that when we shine, we invariably allow others to shine. So when you are your best, the best version of yourself as a leader, there's someone watching. There's always someone watching you. Like, there's literally always someone watching you. I have seen leaders take accountability, which is why I know how to take accountability. I have seen leaders take full responsibility, which is why I know how to take full responsibility. Even when it means me throwing in my resignation letter that, okay, I am sorry, but it's happened under my watch. And guess what? I probably have nothing to do with that situation. It's a selfless commitment. It's a selfless commitment. And unfortunately, things will be thrown at you that you do not even know where it's come from. You know, when you get into a new position, they will say that you've taken on the assets and liability. We know how to take on assets, but we don't know how to take on liability. And you must learn to take on liabilities. And that's what I say. People must learn to take on liabilities and take full responsibility. So unfortunately, you can't control. You can't. They are probably going through their own leadership journey and they are figuring out who they are as a leader. You know, you can choose to be different when you get into those positions. You know what I said, in your journey right now, you might not know what sort of leader you are, but you know what sort of leader you do not want to be. So now go to your notepad, add, I do not want to be a leader that does not take accountability or responsibility. Add that to it. Because you can't control others. But guess what? You would go further than the person that cannot take responsibility. Because you know how to do it. As a result, your own skills would be what would take you before kings. Right? I think I've answered that. Philip said, I hope that helps. Am I supposed to take Phillips now or Emmanuel? What am I doing? Peace.
No, Phillips. Go ahead, ma.
Okay.
Take Phillips.
What practical strategies can leaders adopt to transform leadership from being just a concept into an intangible force for meaningful? So I think I think that question is my entire presentation. Because you can take on a lot of these tangible approaches to ensuring that you have meaningful impact. I think that's my entire presentation. So my entire presentation is basically not talking about you just understanding leadership for what it is, but understanding what effective leadership looks like. And I forgot to mention, by the way, there's no leadership without followership. You know, there's literally no leadership without followership. If you don't know how to follow, you will not be able to lead. Or else you will end up being the person that they put on a team that goes and destroys the team because you don't know how to follow, you don't know how to team play, you don't know how to collaborate. Right? There's no leadership without followership. So in essence, to be a good leader, you must know how to also follow. And follow would mean sometimes even letting your team go and do what they need to do without micromanaging. That's good followership. But back to Philip's question. Philip's, it's all in my presentation. I think I'm not sure if Lisa can share that with you after, you know, and I think that would help. But I've identified and I've mentioned the key tangible elements to how you take yourself from, you know, from just being an ordinary leader to being a full-on impactful leader. And, you know, I've said stuff like adopting the spirit of excellence, being excellent at what you do, integrity, having strong vision so others can follow, being able to impact effectively, ensuring your vision actually solves a problem. Because the easiest way to also find people to follow you is because when people have seen that there's a problem as well, they will follow you, and you are the only person with the solution, they will follow you. They will follow you. So having a vision and using that, ensuring that vision solves a certain problem is one of the easiest ways to get people to follow you. I know there seems to be a few more questions. Perhaps I can drop my email or something, if that's okay, Lisa or Peace.
Yes, please, you can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, so I think because our time is fast spent, if you have any questions, our facilitator will be dropping her email address, so you can directly send your questions to her. She has offered us that opportunity to ask direct, and then you get your replies and then responses. So I think we have come to the end with this for today.
So I've sent that on the group chat, and I've also sent my Instagram or Twitter or my name, so you can also send me a direct message. So it's always easier to get a direct message as well. You can send me, so I can take some of the questions I didn't get to take.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Sent me my social media. I've sent that already. It's Aisa.
Okay. Yes. That's fine. Thank you so much for that. So I think in just 30 seconds, can you wrap up your thoughts, and probably if you have some final words for us?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Guys, so the world is your oyster. Do not let anyone tell you you can't do it, but you must always put your best foot forward. I like to play a lot with the thought of serendipity. So serendipity is when opportunity meets preparedness. So be prepared just ahead of that opportunity. You know, it's like an elevator pitch. You go in to the elevator, you meet someone that you can sell your stuff to, your product to. You're able to do it within 10 seconds, 20 seconds because you're prepared. And you find that most of the deal-breaking investments that you see today, or they don't happen in the offices or in the boardrooms. You see that they happen, you just meet that investor, and that investor is agreeing to invest in your business over lunch, over the informal places. So it's ensuring that you are ready to, to meet, you are always prepared. So when opportunity comes, it doesn't run away from you and you fully recognize it. And preparing yourself is obviously something like this class, is ensuring that you've identified where your gaps are. And you've done a full self-reflection on what your gaps are. And you are ensuring that you need to fill up those gaps. Like at one point, I felt my intellectual capacity is fully reducing. I need to go back to school. I need to do a course. I went to do it. You've done a full assessment of yourself. It's not only a doctor that should be able to do an assessment of yourself. You should be able to do an assessment of yourself as well upstairs. Right? So you can prepare. So you can see that when this opportunity comes, there's no one that say come and run for governor or come and run for president. No one was. You find that a lot of them did not expect it. It's been ready. He's been ready. And I think one of the things that you can learn from even our president today is that he was over ready. He was over ready to take it up. He was over prepared. Even from his slogan, right? If there's anything you take away from that man, is that this man was ready. And he's been ready. So when you're faced with it, when it comes to you, you recognize it, you know what it looks like, you know what it identifies as, you know what it smells like, because you've been wanting it and you've been ready for it. So get yourself to a place whereby you're prepared, and when the opportunity now strikes, you hit. And understand that you represent people, you're representing a generation, right? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. It's always a pleasure doing this with you and then having you share from your wealth of knowledge. And I think the major take home for me is let that opportunity.
I can't hear you, Peace.
You seek knowledge. Ensure that you seek knowledge just the way you're doing here. So as usual, please try as much as possible not to keep this knowledge to yourself. Try to step it down. Start from your little space. Thank you so much to everyone who has availed him or herself to be in class today. It has been an interesting weekend, knowledge packed.
Okay, I think her network. Thank you so much, Mrs. Aisha. It's always a pleasure having you. I thoroughly enjoyed the class. I had so many takeaways from it. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you this time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
So I'll just allow the students on mute and tell you
sir.
thank you, and then
bye.
We're going to end the class.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
God bless you.